Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM. We welcome you all back to our show, as well as tuning in through our online affiliates around the world. We're glad to have all of you with us as well. Kathy Picard is making her first appearance on our program this year to talk to us not only about her life and also her book called Life with My Idiot Family, but also what it's been like for her as a child advocate and an author to be able to share her own story, to be an inspiration for other survivors, but also, I think, to show us all what's possible. Now, this has been an amazing year for Kathy. We're going to talk to her about this year and what it's been like for her to share her story and to see the response. But, Kathy, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you, Cyrus, and thank you for everyone that's listening. It's just a real honor to be sharing with the story with all of the family members in Mississippi, which I've never spoken my story in Mississippi, so welcome.
Wow. Well, look, I'm excited about that. Well, Kathy, you and I were just talking about you have had quite an amazing year. Your book is an award-winning book that has not only been able to inspire others, but I think be a part of the conversation that's so needed when it comes to not only about child abuse, but also the importance of speaking out and making that transition from being a victim to survivor. What has it been like for you this year, Kathy, to be able to see the response to the book and the attention that it's getting?
This year has been wonderful, Cyrus. I mean, the book just came out March 26th of this year, and it was a book that was written by my husband and I. It took us over 5 years to actually write the book, which was really hard in itself to write the book. My husband finding out things that he didn't know about my life, because the book is, when I was a young girl up into where I am today. But, this year, like you mentioned, the book did get an award for Reader's Favorite, and that was held in Miami just last Saturday. So it was an honor to go down there and get this medal, and it won the category that it won in, Cyrus, which may be alarming to some people, but it won in the young adult category, not a memoir, but the young adult, because as you mentioned, people need to talk about stuff like this. It's in the news, it's in Hollywood, you see all this hashtag Me Too, so it's definitely great timing for it to come out.
Right. Kathy, I want to talk to you about the speaking out, because even today, as you and I are having this conversation, for those who will join us on the day that we're actually having it, of course, others will listen to it later. There was another high-profile individual who came out and said that they had been sexually assaulted by someone else in their industry. We hear about it so much now, and of course now a lot of those who are speaking out, a lot of the victims are getting support. That is not always the case. It was not the case initially for you as well. What has that been like for you to see the way that now, of course, the victim is not being the one blamed, but the blame is being put where it deserves to be?
Yeah, and I think that is great. I think it's always been there, but I think people are feeling more confident, more giving that voice that they didn't have when they were younger, whether it be a young child or a teenager or even, a young adult, but they weren't given that voice. But now they have it because they realize that they're not alone. I mean, the statistics, right. 1 in every 4 girls and 1 in every 6 boys before they're 18 years old. So to be given that voice and knowing that there's other people that have been through it is giving these people the ability to speak out and, shut these perpetrators from doing any more harm than they've already done, because once is too many times. A victim being just once, because some survivors will say, well, it only happened once, that's not that bad. No, once is too many times. They shouldn't touch you. It's your body, not for them to get pleasure from.
Right. I think that is so true. Now, the interesting thing about your journey that you share in the book and you've been able to share when you're out talking to people, Kathy, is that you found the courage to be able to speak early. And even though people, even around you did not want to believe it, that did not stop you. Where do you think that courage came from for you to be able to voice what was happening to you and to not stop?
Well, that's a huge question to answer. I mean, I first voiced what was happening to me to my mother's mother, my Grammy, when I was 9 years old, and she said, "Shh, Kathy, we don't talk about things like that." So she kind of reaffiliated what my stepfather was telling me by being quiet. So, and it wasn't until 9 and then till the age of 28 when I told my Aunt Judy, who passed away. She was the mom to me that I didn't have. And then I kept going forward. And then it wasn't really, Cyrus, until the year 2002 when the priest abuse was being talked about. And I'm like, it's not just priest abuse, it's people like my stepfather. And that's really when my advocacy, going out and getting angry and wanting to do something about it. And in my book, people will say Life with My Idiot Family, and they think it's like a comedy book. But then when they read the subtitle, which is a true story of survival, courage, and justice over childhood sexual abuse, then they know what the book is about. So it's me being sexually abused by my stepfather from 7 until I was 17 years old.
Yeah. And I think for so many people, and it's so interesting, too, how times have changed, Kathy, because, it used to be, as you said, that is not something that people talked about, and that's what people were told, and they didn't want to share it because of that. And then, of course, there are those who just were in denial, who did not want to believe that it was happening, especially if the accuser was someone in the family or someone that was a friend of the family. Today, though, as we mentioned, the times are definitely different. Part of what has helped, though, has been the Internet. You mentioned earlier the hashtag Me Too, and that got so much momentum from women and men, I noticed, who were sharing their stories through Twitter, through Facebook. What was it like for you to see that, to see people so openly discussing what was such a private thing for so many people for so many years?
So happy. I mean, some of the people, I would connect with, and it's like that was the first time then they had not the total voice, but just the first time when they were actually able to hashtag Me Too and press that. I mean, to press that enter button, that's huge. That is, I remember the first time when I spoke, I mean, I was a nervous wreck. My hands were sweating, and, it's really hard because some of the reasons why it's hard to tell, to talk about it is you're embarrassed, you think people aren't going to believe you, but now with the openness and people saying, yeah, it happened to me, and as you mentioned, it's not stranger danger, it's people that mostly in the family. 93% are the people that are in the family that are doing this abuse. It's people that are known to the survivor, and that's pretty scary.
It is scary, and I think it's sad too, because it puts now, of course, everyone now, you look at your situation and you want to hug your kids a little bit tighter. You want to make sure that there's that dialogue that takes place, because you realize, as you said, by the stats, and even you share those stats on your website, Kathy, this is something that can so easily hit close to home. And I think for so many people, for sure, we're going to talk more about that. For those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're glad to welcome child advocate and author Kathy Picard to our program today. Kathy is the author of the book, the award-winning book, Life with My Idiot Family. We're going to tell you all a little bit later how you can be able to get the book for yourself. Kathy, though, you did not have to go through this part of your journey by yourself. You had your husband, as you mentioned, Gary. What was it like for you to have that support system there with you as you mentioned, he was finding out some things he didn't know, but what was it like for you to have that support when writing the book?
It's much needed. I mean, there was things that, like you mentioned, he didn't know about my life, and there was very tearful moments because he goes, I can't believe that happened to you, because I don't really keep much out when I first talk about my abuse happening. And he goes, he just wanted to go and smack him a few times, but he felt really, really bad for me. And that's what it takes is, I couldn't really talk about the abuse when I was in the home, but when you get out and you find that soulmate and you find somebody that you have that support with that you can talk to, that's what helps. That's what helped me. But he is the co-author of the book, as well as our editor, Valeria, and if it wasn't for them, the book wouldn't be written, because I really needed that support going through and writing the book. And when the book was written, honestly, Cyrus, I had to put it down when I first started reading it. And that's fine to do. When you got to put it down and take time for yourself just to recoup, that's fine. You need to do those things. but I'm glad it's written, and I know that my story, there's going to be a lot of survivors that are listening today, and they can relate a lot of the things. One thing is a lot of your sexual abuse, I found from a lot of survivors, it happens in the basement, and that's where mine took place, a lot of it in the basement, and people were upstairs, but he didn't care. He still would sexually abuse me, whether it be on the couch, the brown recliner, or in the laundry room. He didn't care if people were upstairs because he knew it was a secret, and I wouldn't tell anybody.
Yeah. I want to talk about something that I discuss with a lot of survivors that come on this program, Kathy, and that is the freedom that comes with telling, especially when you are believed. I mean, talk to us about that. When you were able to tell and know that you were being heard, how did that make you feel?
Oh, it felt good, but your stomach is in knots because you don't think people are going to believe you, but to know that people did believe me, my Aunt Judy believed me, but still silenced me from saying anything because out of fear of my stepfather. But to be believed, and especially without being just believed, but to hear other people, to know that other people have gone through the same thing, I think those two are pretty much up there tied, together. But a lot of people, they just don't believe you, or they don't want to believe you because a lot of people they're not educated. It's like, well, how can you say you've been sexually abused? How do you remember? That happened to you when you were so young. I mean, I remember incidences with, and I write about it in the book, him taking a screwdriver and unlocking the bathroom door and getting in the tub with me. I mean, how do I remember that when I don't remember what I ate last week? It's just
right.
Because it's so traumatic. But those feelings will never go away, but yet they're not going to make me not live a happy, healthy life going forward.
Right. And then there was the shame. You talk about that in the book, Kathy, about how, even over the years as his message to you would change, and really putting this burden on you of saying you were going to break up the family and, and all the bad things, knowing how, as you chronicle in the book, knowing how your sisters looked up to you. You talked about the brainwashing. I mean, is that another thing that you've been sharing with people about? That is one of those things that happens with the abuser, them brainwashing their victim into thinking it's, if they do say something, it's their fault what happens next.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things he would tell me as a young girl, is that if you tell, me and your mom are going to get divorced, and you know what, it's going to be your fault. And the grooming process of giving me gifts, I mean, when I was 16, I got a car right away. He'd give me money, and it's just all the gifts. I mean, he knew exactly what to say. My mother would never say the words, "I love you," to me growing up, but he would say it constantly. So I felt as though I was getting loved. And one of the things is when a person reaches the adult years, then you question yourself, then you self-blame yourself. And that's one of the things that I went through. It's like, why didn't I tell? And I would think to myself, did I like it? Why didn't I tell? And then you blame yourself. It's like, it's been so many years, I can't talk about it now. I should have told the first time it happened. But you just don't. You keep it a secret. And that's what he would tell me all the time. Don't tell. It's our little secret, like it's a big deal. But, being that it was a secret, I grew up with 4 girls in the home. And when the belt came out to line up and get hit, I didn't get hit as hard for obvious reasons, but I would have to pay for it later on.
Yeah. Kathy, you also talk about forgiveness in the book, and you say something interesting. I actually want to read it because I think, for a lot of people, this is always a big one, and it's sometimes definitely difficult to try to rationalize how you can be able to move forward and what it takes. And you really show in the book, I believe, that everyone, of course, is going to handle the situation differently, but you wrote this: people think they can't move on if they don't forgive, and that they'll somehow be stuck just treading water until they do. Not true. I can't forget what my dad did to me, and I haven't forgiven him, but for God, I was still able to move on and make something out of my life. Just remember, it's not where you come from that matters. What matters is how you spend the rest of your life once you get past all the crap. Do not allow the bad people to win. hate is a powerful motivator. If it's the only thing you have, use it. I think this is an interesting thing here. Talk to us about how you were able to get to a place, Kathy, where you could move forward and not allow this to define you.
Oh, I don't have time for the stupidity. I don't have time for bad memories. I want to just go forward. And if I can't move forward, how am I going to be able to help other survivors? And to me, right, Cyrus, that's a passion. I have a passion of helping other people, that can't move forward or get to where I am. Because some people will be in that stage their entire life, and you don't want to stress yourself out. I mean, stress is a huge killer at a young age. So you don't want to be in that stressful situation. You want to get out as soon as you can. But like I said, I just don't have time for that. And I think once you're not around the perpetrator, or once you're not around that particular family that doesn't believe you, and you move on, you do make a family for yourself. I mean, I have wonderful people in my life that, there's girls that I call my sisters, and they're more of a sister to me than the ones I was born into.
I think that's it. It's a great thing for all of us to be able to remember. Again, everyone, Kathy Picard is our guest. We're discussing with her not only about her work as a child advocate, but also her award-winning book. It's called Life with My Idiot Family. It's available now through our friends at Amazon.com. You can also get it through Kathy's website. We're going to tell you what that is here in just a bit. So, Kathy, what is your hope? Because I mentioned to you before we began the segment, there were 3 groups that you addressed in the book that you really wanted the book to be for, one of which, of course, will be professionals, but the other 2 groups will be for the survivor and those that are in the family or around the survivor. How important has that been for you to share? For one thing, that the survivor does not have to go through this by themselves, but also that there are people around them, that can be able to be there to support them through this journey.
Yeah, no, people can be there to support them, Cyrus. You have to listen to them, let them talk. You have to be there. If you have to hold their hand, sometimes you really have to hold their whole body and, walk them through them, walk with them. But sometimes let them go on their own, and they're going to have good days, they're going to have bad days, they're going to have crying moments. Just know that you're going to be with them throughout this whole journey, and they're going to have ups and downs. But I think getting them counseling is really important. And if you can't find the right counselor or the first one that they approach, move on and find another one. I mean, I'm not saying all counselors are bad, but my last counselor that I had, she told me, she goes, Kathy, you need to forget about it and go on with your life. And I says, oh my gosh, tell me what my family members are telling me. And I walked out and I just never returned. I'm thinking, I'm paying you a $20 copay and you're telling me to forget about it. It'll never happen. I'll never totally forget about it, but I don't make it my life. I go out, as you'll read in the book, I go out, I present to the future police officers, educating them that voice and eye contact is very important. I go out to colleges, universities, educating our nurses in Massachusetts here, which is where I'm from. They have to be educated a little bit more to get recertified for 2018. So I go out and speak my story there to the nurses. And wherever I can, I started a support group, which is free for men and women, because we've done our time. You shouldn't have to pay to get this support. So there's much things that I've been doing, receiving, more awards, like you said, the 2017 Reader's Favorite International Book Gold Award that I just got. And I actually started my own program. And I'm the host of Can Be Heroes Conversations. It's a cable station, so I just started that as well. So I'm busy. I keep myself very active, and I think that kind of takes your mind off of some of what you've gone through, keeping busy.
Right. I think that's such a good point. So since you mentioned that, and let our audience know, Kathy, how they can stay connected with you, and also, of course, how they can be able to find out more information about the things going on with you.
Yeah, what they can do is my website is Kathy with a K, Kathy, Picard, Picard.com is my website. They can reach out to me by email, which is kathychildadvocate@gmail.com. And they can go on Amazon, as you mentioned, and my book is there. Life with My Idiot Family, and the subtitle, A True Story of Survival, Courage, and Justice Over Childhood Sexual Abuse. The reason why I just want to let the audience know is Life with My Idiot Family, because my mother either called us idiots or ASS holes was our name. So it's a wonder that I even know my first name, but that's the reason why we came up with that. And just to let everyone know that my husband and I, we decided that we are going to write a second book, and we just decided that a couple days ago. So we've started doing that as well.
Awesome. Well, gives us something to look forward to. Congratulations to you, Kathy, on what you've been able to do in helping to spread the word, and really the encouragement you're giving so many people. Really, know that only great things will continue to happen, and looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Great. Thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Kathy, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late and missed part of the conversation with Kathy, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media sites, so head over to Facebook.com/Cyrus Webb or go to Twitter.com/Cyrus Webb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there, too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You will make it a great one.